Most people think making money while you sleep is a secret or a loophole. It's not, it's architecture. If you're watching this, you've likely been fed the passive income dream, usually by someone sitting in a rented car. Forget that. We're talking about building a machine that operates independently of your heartbeat. I spent 3 years building a system that generates $300 every night before I even reach for my morning coffee. In the US, the average salary is around $60,000. This system, running purely while I'm unconscious, more than doubles that. But here's the reality check. Today isn't a pep talk, it's a blueprint. No hype, no fake grind culture, just the mechanics of how this actually works. If you want clarity on moving from selling your time to owning a system, let's look at the clock. Why do most people fail at this? Because they apply employee logic to owner systems. In a traditional job, $300 might take you 10, 15, or 20 hours of physical presence. Your income is capped by your biology. You have to eat, you have to sleep, and eventually you run out of hours. To break $300 a night, you have to stop being the worker and start being the architect. Think of a skyscraper. The construction workers get paid by the hour to be there. The architect gets paid for the value of the design, which exists whether they are on site or on vacation. We are going to architect your day so that your digital workers, your code, your content, and the sun never sets on the internet. While it's 2 a.m. in New York and you're in deep REM sleep, it's 7 a.m. in London and 3 p.m. in Tokyo. People there have problems they are willing to pay to solve right now. If your business requires you to be awake to answer a phone or sign a contract, you are geofenced. You're limited to your local sunlight. My $300 blueprint relies on asynchronous delivery. That means the value is delivered and the payment is collected without a single human interaction. This isn't magic money, it's global arbitrage. The promise of the next 15 minutes. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you the 3 phases of my day. We'll look at the input window, the 3 hours of heavy lifting I do in the morning that fuels the next 21. We'll look at the middleware, the software that acts as my 24/7 sales team. And finally, I'll show you the sleep logic, how to ensure the system doesn't break when you aren't there to fix it. If you're looking for a get-rich-quick scheme, turn this off. But if you want to understand the physics of wealth in the digital age, let's start with phase 1, the 9 a.m. input. In the United States, we are culturally conditioned to think in hourly rates. From your first job at 16 to a corporate VP role, the question is always, how much am I worth per hour? But here's the cold, hard truth. If your income is tied to your presence, you don't own a business, you own a job. And even if you're a high-paid lawyer making $500 an hour, you are still one flu, one burnout, or one family emergency away from your income dropping to zero. You are capped by the 24-hour ceiling. To generate $300 while you sleep, we have to kill the hourly mindset and replace it with asset logic. Think of your current income like carrying buckets. You get paid for every bucket you deliver. It's honest work. But the moment you stop walking, the water stops flowing. Now, look at the pipeline. While the bucket carrier is making money today, the pipe layer is making nothing. They're digging trenches and connecting joints. It looks like unpaid work. But once that last pipe is connected, they turn a faucet and the water flows 24/7, whether they are standing there or not. Digital real estate is your pipeline. It is the work you do once that pays you forever. When I say digital real estate, I'm not talking about metaverses or NFTs. I'm talking about value anchors. A YouTube video is a digital storefront that stays open 24/7. A PDF guide or digital template is a product that costs $0 to ship and $0 to restock. An automated email sequence is a salesperson who never sleeps, never asks for a raise, and never gets tired. In the physical world, real estate is expensive and slow. In the digital world, you can build a new storefront for the cost of a $15 domain and a few hours of focused work. This is how you architect a day that generates $300 while you sleep, by owning the land where people go to solve their problems. Most people will hear this and say, "That sounds great, but I need money today." I get it, I was there. The secret to the $300 blueprint isn't quitting your job tomorrow. It's using your 9 to 5 to fund your 5 to 9 until the pipeline is finished. But how do you actually build the pipe? What do you do at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday to ensure money hits your bank at 3 a.m. on a Wednesday? That brings us to phase 1, the input window. Let's get tactical. It's 9 a.m. For most of the country, this is when the distraction storm begins. Slack notifications, CC'd emails, and quick sync meetings. If you spend this window reacting to other people's agendas, you've already lost the night. My $300 nightly average isn't magic. It's the direct result of what I do between 9 a.m. and noon. I call this the input window. This is where I build my inventory. In a physical store, you need boxes on shelves. In a digital system, your inventory is content and code. First, let's talk about the content engine. Most people post on social media for dopamine. They want likes, comments, and ego strokes. I don't care about any of that. Every piece of content I create is a 24/7 salesperson that I only have to train once. Think about it. If I record a video or write an article that solves a specific problem for my audience, that worker stays on the internet forever. It doesn't take sick days. It doesn't get burnt out. While I'm at lunch, that video is explaining my value to someone in California. While I'm asleep, it's pitching my solution to someone in Sydney. The 3 hours I spend now is leveraged time. I am essentially cloning myself 1,000 times over. The second half of my morning is spent on the plumbing. This is system optimization. If content is the salesperson, your automated email sequences are the closers. I spend time looking at the data. Where are people dropping off? If 100 people joined my list last night, did they all get the welcome email? Did they see the offer? I'm checking the joints in the pipe to make sure there are no leaks. Most people set and forget their systems. That's a mistake. A $300 a night requires a system that is 1% better every single day. If I can increase my conversion rate by just 0.5% during this window, that's an extra $50 a night for the rest of the year. That is a massive return on 90 minutes of work. The secret to this blueprint isn't working 16 hours a day. It's understanding the half-life of your tasks. Most work has a half-life of about 2 hours. Once you answer that email, the value is gone. But creating an automated system or a high-value video has a half-life of years. When I finish at noon, I haven't just worked for 3 hours. I have added 3 hours of permanent infrastructure to my life. I have increased the net worth of my day. And because this work is finished, it frees me up for the rest of the 24-hour cycle. But what happens once the work is done? How does that content actually turn into a bank notification? That happens in phase 2, the automated conversion. It's noon. My input window is closed. For most people, this is where the workday gets heavy. For me, this is where I go offline. While I'm eating lunch, running errands, or picking up my kids, the middleware takes over. Middleware is the software stack that sits between your content and your bank account. Most entrepreneurs fail because they try to be the middleware themselves. They try to manually DM every lead or hand deliver every invoice. That doesn't scale. To make $300 while you sleep, you need a system that turns a stranger's curiosity into a transaction without a single human touchpoint. Let's look at the math, and I want you to see how unsexy this is. If 1,000 people see your content daily, which is a very modest number in the US market, and only 1% of them buy a $30 digital product, you have hit your $300 goal. Most people are looking for a viral moment. I'm looking for a conversion rate. If I can get 10 people out of 1,000 to say yes to a $30 solution that I built once and costs $0 to replicate, the machine is finished. The math is boring, and that is exactly why it works. It's predictable. Between 12 p.m. and 8 p.m., this cycle repeats hundreds of times. People enter the ladder, they get value, and some of them buy. But the real magic, the reason you're likely watching this, is what happens when the sun goes down and the owner goes to bed. How do you ensure this system doesn't crash when you're in deep sleep? How do you handle the global scale? That's phase 3, the sleep logic. It's 11 p.m. In the traditional world, my earning potential has just hit 0. My physical body needs to recharge. But here is the beauty of the architecture. The internet doesn't have a time zone. While I'm entering REM sleep in New York, a business owner in London is waking up with a problem. They search for a solution, find the video I made 3 months ago, and enter my ecosystem. They don't know I'm asleep. They just know I have the answer. To them, I am awake, alert, and providing value in real time. This is asynchronous leverage. You aren't just making money while you sleep, you are serving people while you sleep. You cannot be the one sending the file. If someone buys your guide at 3 a.m., they expect it at 3:01 a.m. You use delivery architects, platforms like Gumroad, Shopify, or Teachable. These aren't just websites. They are your digital warehouses. They stay open 24/7, 365, they never call in sick, and they handle the handoff perfectly every single time. Pillar 2, the trust reserve. Host. This is the most misunderstood pillar. Why does a stranger in another country give you money while you're unconscious? Because of the trust reserve you built at 9 a.m. Your content acts as a pre-recorded audition. By the time they hit buy, your digital self has already convinced them that you are the solution. The sleep money is simply the harvest of the morning trust. Pillar 3, the frictionless gateway. Host. Finally, the payment gateway. In the US, we're used to Stripe and PayPal. These are your 24/7 tellers. They handle the currency conversion, the fraud detection, and the tax compliance. While you're dreaming, these gateways are shaking hands with banks across the globe and moving $30, $50, or $100 into your account. Your only job is to wake up and check the notifications. People ask, what if it breaks? That's why we chose these specific tools. Professional-grade middleware is self-healing. If a payment fails, the system automatically emails the customer to retry. If a download link expires, the system generates a new one. You've built a machine that handles its own customer service for 99% of cases. You've removed yourself as the bottleneck. 7 a.m. I wake up and the dashboard says $312. That number represents people served and problems solved while I was completely offline. But here's the part no one tells you. How do you actually get started without losing your mind or your savings? We need to talk about the reality check. If you're ready to stop trading your life force for a paycheck and start building your own infrastructure, your first step isn't a course. It's identifying just one problem you can solve with a digital asset. In the description below, I've linked the Sovereign Tech Stack. These are the exact tools I use to run my middleware. There's no $2,000 masterclass behind it, just the mechanics. Take the blueprint, build the system, secure your sovereignty, then finally go to sleep. I'll see you in the next one. The biggest hurdle for Americans today is what I call the side hustle carousel. You try one thing for a week, get bored because it's hard, and jump to the next thing. You are effectively a professional beginner.
Wealth is built through the sovereign architect mindset. An architect doesn't start 5 different buildings at once, they master one blueprint. They ensure the foundation is poured, the frame is set, and the plumbing is leak-proof. If you want to reach the $300 mark, you have to stop looking for a new hustle every Tuesday. You need to pick one problem, build one digital asset, and refine it until the gears start turning on their own. True wealth isn't about the $300. It's about clarity. It's the psychological peace of knowing that your income is no longer tied to your pulse. When your revenue is decoupled from your time, you stop being a servant to the clock and start being an architect of your life. That is what it means to be a sovereign architect. It's not about avoiding work. It's about ensuring that the work you do has a permanent home in a system that lasts. It's about building a legacy that functions whether you are in the room or not. I promised you no hype, so let's talk about the gap. Most people look at the $300 night and think it's the starting point. It's not. It's the destination of a long, often boring process of iteration. In the United States, we are obsessed with the big win. But wealth isn't a jackpot. It's a compounding sequence. My first sleep sale was $4.99. I woke up, saw the notification, and realized the plumbing worked. It wasn't about the $5. It was about the proof that the machine could function without me. Then it was $20. Then $100. You don't find this system. You grow into it. If you can't manage a system that makes $5 while you sleep, you will never have the discipline to manage one that makes $500.